Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Time Pass for the New Indian Express. I have with me the hugely talented Suhasini Maniratnam, and I'm so glad she's returned to direction after 25 years. And it's such a pleasure to have her with us. She's been an actor, cinematographer, dialogue writer, mom, atheist. I mean, there's so many identities that she has, and of course, a huge supporter of so many different non-profits in so many different areas. So she's really had a wonderfully involved and engaged life, and it's a real privilege to talk to her. Thank you, Suhasini, for
Thank you
being with
so
us.
much for that introduction. Thank you so much. The most difficult job is being a mom, I have to tell you. Everything else was easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That was the most difficult.
But you have a wonderful son. I think he's so talented, and I think his heart is in the right place, and so is his politics, which I think is the most important thing. So it's such a pleasure to have you back, as I said, as the director of one of the segments of the anthology Puttum Puddu Kalai, right?
Pudu Kalai.
Exactly. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's fine.
But the segment that you direct is called Coffee Anyone. And in a sense, it reunites you with your cousin, Anu Hassan, whom you directed in your first film, Indira. So, and your it also stars your niece, Shruti Hassan.
Cousin.
Yes, cousin. Your relationships are so confusing to me.
My story is also about that.
So talk a little about how this came about. I know it came about during the lockdown, and it has, 4 other wonderful directors. Talk a little about how it came about.
Like you said, my last feature film was 24 years ago. And after that, I've been making short films.
Yes.
I did one on the 33% reservation that is there for women in Panchayati Raj. So I made a film with Revati and Manorama. And I've made several short films, which were not really for the mainstream or whatever. There's one film where Revati and I directed together. It was a 1-hour film.
Right.
We directed together called Friends. So I've been doing things, but I didn't do another feature film. As you know, I was doing many things, and I started an NGO for single women, which is this year is 11th year. So that's been keeping me very, very busy also from 2009. But when the lockdown was announced, I did Instagram live for about 21 days from my NGO. My NGO is called NAM. NAM is us in Tamil. Hum is Naam in Tamil. So I had a series called Naam Calm. How do we stay calm? So 21 days of making people calmer. But after 21 days, the lockdown continued, and I stopped my live show and I didn't know what to do. Right. So then I started writing. I wrote several short stories. This is the 6th story, Kaveri, that I wrote. And when Amazon asked me is when I wrote the 6th story. I had 2 stories and I showed both the stories, not both. I pitched both ideas to them, and I realized Karthik was doing something similar to what I had written or I had thought of. So I went back to the family story. And even in the first 5 short stories that I had written, I had kind of decided, I was looking at all my friends where they had more than one actor in their house, you know. So I chose an actor who had parents who were also actors.
Right.
I chose an actor who had a son who could shoot him.
Okay.
Things like that. So I was already looking at things like that, and we were still under lockdown. When I accepted Amazon's film, we were under complete total lockdown.
Right.
Like we were not even allowed to go outside our houses. So the lockdown opened only on 5th, and the film industry gave us permission to shoot on 8th, Film Federation. And we started 7th, we started on 8th. So again, it was a lockdown situation. It was not easy. So when I wrote the story itself, before writing, I decided to grab actors who were close to me.
Yeah.
So the first one on my mind was my father, Charu Hassan. Right. And then my mother, I had made her act in the first short film I shot with my iPhone. So she was also there. Then I thought of myself, and my cousin Anu, she stays opposite my house. So I said, that is she. And Shruti and I had developed a kind of a rapport during lockdown. She was in Bombay and I was keeping a tab on how she was doing. So I said, you stay wherever you are under lockdown, but that's how the story will be. Somebody in lockdown in a different place, but the communication is with the family. So with that, I started the script.
Right.
But unfortunately, my father had a collarbone fracture and he couldn't join us. So the record of sorts was not broken. You know, we couldn't do that all.
So many Hassans in one frame would have been fantastic.
I know. I thought, I also wanted to write a scene for Kamal, my uncle, that either my elder brother or an uncle or, you know, who's calling, or a friend who's calling and, you know, trying to put a, you know, bring calm to the house. Then I thought, no, it's not happening.
You know, so Hasni, this brings me to a question which is somewhat related, but then we'll come back to your work. You know, the kind of fierce outrage that you've had in Bombay against what is called nepotism now, you know, where if a family is of actors and, you know, they happen to act in a film together or they happen to do films, it becomes now a question of tremendous outrage. You don't have that sense in South India, and I hope it remains like that. Why do you think it's become such a big political issue in Mumbai?
I really don't know, but I can't change the fact that I'm Charu Hassan's daughter or Kamala Hassan's. In fact, I feel there is more pressure on us.
Right.
In fact, there is more pressure on my son, more pressure on Shruti and Akshara. Because I still remember when I went for the first time to act in a film, the makeup man touched my face and turned it like this, turned it like that, did this, did that, and said, "Are you sure you're Kamala Hassan's niece? Because you don't have his features." And then there was another director, when I danced, he said, "Are you sure you're Kamala Hassan's niece? Because he dances like a dream and you're a very shy, you know, kind of a dancer." So there are some disadvantages that we have all faced, but this is not the platform to talk about it. And like you said, the problem is not here. So and the problem is, it's the pandemic has not reached us. So why go out of the way and discuss it? Is what I feel.
True. But I feel that it allows you to, you know, breathe better, to work better, to have more freedom. You know, now to have this burden that a lot of kids are going to be faced with, I wonder how they'll react to it.
No, I think it's only in the media. I don't think it's a problem in the industry.
Right.
I don't think when it comes to work, you cast who you think is right for your role.
Right.
You know, when Nayakan was made, there was a daughter's role, Kartika's role, which I think Mani wanted me to, Mani wanted me to play it, but the production house decided against it and I didn't act. So Kamal could have easily said, "She's my niece, she should act," but he never interfered. So it's the unit that decides who acts. I don't think nepotism is going to come into that.
Right. So Hasni, you've seen the industry for so long now. There's so much interesting work happening, especially among the youngsters, you know,
absolutely.
And across all languages. And you, of course, have also acted across all languages with such wonderful felicity. You know, when you see people like Fahad, Dulquer, and you've worked with some of their...
the fathers, yes. I worked with all the fathers.
So I wonder, what do you think of it? It's such a...
I think the change started with Hindi films.
Right.
You know, really, because Hindi is pan-Indian. So they were always like Hollywood films trying to cater to all kinds of people and all languages and all emotions. But at some point, the youngsters changed it completely. You know, Farhan Akhtar and, you know, Zoya and so many of them, so many, you know, the director of Queen, you know.
Vikas.
So all of them changed the way Hindi cinema spoke.
Right.
You know, I could identify with it, whereas with the blockbusters, I could never sit through the blockbuster for more than half an hour because, first of all, we all don't know the language. Now we understand because it's real.
Right.
Real. Even if the dialogues, some of the words we don't understand, we understand the emotion.
Right.
So I think the change happened in Hindi films. And also, I think a lot of women in production changed the way the film industry also worked. Otherwise, what used to happen is if I came to the set at 11 o'clock, they will ask me, "Are you a Hindi actor? You've come so late," but today it's not like that.
Right.
Hindi productions are more productive than the South films. I mean, a lot of my producers say it happens, you know, like a clockwork in Bombay, you know, here everything is delayed. So that change also happened. The discipline in production
Yeah, because they would always say, "Oh, South Indian films are so quick and
Yes,
production
yeah.
is perfect." And
Not that we got worse, but
yeah,
the Hindi film production got better,
caught up.
and so the scripts got better, and everything, the music, sounded better. The sound, everything is. I mean, the sets and costumes were always special in Hindi films. They always were very good. But all the other areas also, I think Rahman's music coming in and a new sound coming in Hindi films. I think Hindi films started the change, and after that it was Tamil.
Right.
Wonderful directors like Vechimaran and Bala and Selvaraghavan and Karthik Subraj and so many new directors who have come in now. There are so many directors, but Malayalam has taken over Tamil right now.
Yeah.
The last 3 years, Malayalam films are amazing. So I think which is good, which is wonderful.
Yeah, and so many wonderful new actresses as well, not just actors. And that brings me to the time when you began, people like you, Revati. I mean, you were really, and you're still working, you're still so productive, and there's still roles for people of a certain age, whereas perhaps earlier you didn't have that kind of elasticity of a career. So how has that worked for the women? They've found their voice, they've found their stories to tell, right?
See, I think it's not based on your age anymore. We are not tennis players that we are productive only from 17 to 23. 23, they retire. Imagine actors, we retire only when we are 30. Tennis players have to retire when they're 22.
Right.
After 22, there is no career for them.
Right.
But that has changed, because of television mainly.
Yeah.
Television fiction and television non-fiction. Non-fiction, there is no age disparity at all.
Yeah.
I mean, when we do non-fiction shows in television, it doesn't matter you're 30 or 40 or 50 or 60, as long as you deliver.
You're good at what you do,
Yeah, you're good at what you do. So the gender also right now, I don't think I'm Suhasini, I'm a female. I just think I'm Suhasini, I'm a person.
Right.
That happens to all of us after 50. You know how it is. It just changes. So we have the opportunities that our seniors didn't have.
Yeah.
Like the Sri Vidyas and KR Vidyas and Shardas, they did not have the opportunity that Revati and I and Radhika and Khushbu have. But having said that, Khushbu and Radhika work so hard, Ramya Krishnan works so hard. They do television, they do stage shows, and they do event planning. Radhika does event management too.
Yeah.
She brings stars together and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, we continue to work. Yeah.
And I think I'm a firm believer that 50 sort of liberates women from, because you're also done largely with the responsibilities at home and can play a bigger role in society, which perhaps...
For example, I'm a honorary consul for Luxembourg.
Oh, really?
Yes, I am honorary consul for Luxembourg. I'm just stepping down this year. It's been 5 years.
Right.
So this is something unheard of from the film industry. I don't think there is any other actor who's been an honorary consul of a country.
Right.
And as I'm stepping down, I was made election officer for the association's election, So there I am sitting there with corporate people and who's who of South India. And I'm deciding who's the president, who's the vice president, and, I'm doing the election process. That is the kind of opportunity that women have today. It might not bring me, add to my bank balance, but it does add to the bank balance here,
Yeah, and obviously it influences your work.
Absolutely.
Your creativity. The more you see, the more you can do.
Right? I'll tell you something. Because of my association with Luxembourg and French, because my oath taking was in French.
Yeah.
There is a French song that I've actually written in Putta Pudhu Kalai.
Really?
Not song, it's a rendering. It's like a voiceover in a EDM music that Shruti is supposed to be composing in a recording studio, and it has like Hindi. French voice.
Right.
I have written the lines for it and the lyrics for it,
So you can speak French very well now.
A little bit, not well. Still
amazing. It reminds me of Shobna's role in that lovely film with Dulquer. I keep forgetting the name, but she's also learning French in it. And again,
yes,
actress who's timeless. It's so lovely to see all of you. You can be behind the screen, in front of the screen, you can write, you can dance, you can do everything. It's just so lovely.
We've done all that in Putta Pudhu Kalai. We've sang, we've danced, we've cried, we've laughed, and we've gotten angry, we've been difficult, all that is there.
But it's so lovely to see real people on screen, real people like us, isn't it?
Yeah, but having said that, in films, in this role, in Putta Pudukale, I had to be 10 years younger than my age.
That's
Yeah, I had to be, and Anu had to be 10 years younger than her age.
right.
So we had to make some, changes in our costumes and the way we dress up, which is again based on our techniques and based on our experience. You behave like a 10-year younger person.
Right.
I'm supposed to have a 14 or 15-year-old son. In reality, my son is 28 years old. So you know what I mean? So you do that through experience.
Yeah, and it changes your physicality and everything.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It does. So I had to eat less for 10 days.
But
Be
you're
slim.
very fit, and I believe you're a great believer in fitness as well.
Absolutely. And vegetarianism and yoga and fitness. And I'm an outdoor person, so I am missing my walks outside and my workouts outside. Yes, I do.
So I just wanted to talk a little about Pen as well, the series that you've done for television. I wish you could do an update now. I mean, it would be just wonderful as a web series, wouldn't it?
I think I should do it. I think I started already. The iPhone film I did was a continuation of Pen. And in a way, Puttam Pudukale is also a continuation of that. Okay. So you've given me an idea. So I think I should do Pen, about 10 episodes, and I should do it. Pen.
In a way, maybe even casting the same actors, because, they're all still there. I think
yes.
Still beautiful and wonderful. And look at their lives now, or, I mean, just an idea.
That's a great idea, Kaveri. I'm going to take up on that.
But talk a little to me about the changes you've seen, not just in the film industry, but in society as a large as well. As someone who's been in the public domain since 1980, that's a long time. How have you seen the world around you evolve?
I think the youngsters have a lot of exposure. There is nothing that they don't know. But earlier on, we wanted to know everything and we knew very little. Yeah. But now they know everything, but they don't want to know a lot of stuff. Right. They want to stay closed. I feel in a way they are closed, and they're looking at only their welfare and their problems. And they also are not ready to face a lot of problems. And that's when something like this happens, and testing their endurance.
Yeah.
The same thing with film industry also. I mean, Sushant Singh, if you look at it, he couldn't take the pressure of whatever was happening. I mean, I don't want to go into it. This wouldn't have happened about 20 years ago to a successful actor like him.
Yeah.
So I feel people, I mean, in the 90s, people saw a lot of success.
Yeah.
Okay. People excelled in everything, any whether it was real estate or IT or it is events, they all excelled in it. And then 2000 saw a steadiness of it. 2010 and 2020, there is a decline.
Absolutely.
So this is a very difficult time for the young people.
Yeah.
In terms of unemployment.
Yeah, because they've never seen shortages.
They've never seen.
Our generation was more resilient because we had seen shortages. We had seen sort of, not having everything. This generation has never seen all this.
Yeah, like when I talk to my son, he says, I mean, did you have to book your phone and wait for a year? You say, yes. Did you have to book your car and wait for 6 months? No, yes, we had. Today, you go and pick up a car from the showroom the next day. All you need is money. Earlier on, even if we had money, we had to wait for everything. So everything was not handed on a platter to us. And I think being said no to this generation and them accepting it graciously, it's going to be very, very difficult. No, that's what I see, whether it's in the film industry or in real life. But having said that, there are so many people who are doing such wonderful things. The way they play with technology, whether it's engineering or digital or media or films, it's just absolutely brilliant, which we would never have thought of. And I came from the technical side, the cinematography, but whatever they are doing today, it's like, it's a strike of a button. Everything is, sorted out. And if there is a light, like a cloth that is hanging from there, and if I tell the cinematographer, he says, ma'am, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. And he does take care of it. Yeah. He takes care of it. Right. So that's amazing. The technical progress is like amazing.
But, you began as a cinematographer, so that must be something very close to your heart.
It is.
Yeah. So do you still sometimes feel like just picking up the camera and just going around and shooting yourself?
I do that, but not in the face. But I always do that. Yes, I do that. So for anything that needs a little bit of photographic expertise, they call me. And when I travel with some 50 women in a bus, when I can catch their attention, I tell them, stop taking horrible selfies. And to get them into technicalities of taking a photograph, I have to tell them, you have to look good. Do you want your double chin to be seen? Do you want your eyes to be squinted? You don't. So these are the things. So I start from making them look pretty. And from there, I tell them, if you keep the camera, you look bigger. If you keep it straight, you look equal. If you keep the camera up, you look small. I go to the technical details a little later. First, I'll have to get their attention. These days, getting anybody's attention span is very, very tough.
Yeah. Of course, Suhasini, I have to ask you about Mani Ratnam because he's an integral part of your life, an integral part of our lives as well. And we've been hearing so much about the grand spectacle he's working on. Can you tell us a little about it and how you're associated with it?
I am not associated with it. He brought that story to me when we were just newly married.
Okay.
I'm talking about 32 years ago.
Wow.
And he asked me to convert it into a script. And I had no idea of how to write a screenplay. So I just wrote a kind of a short form of the story. And he said, this is not how you write script. And he started teaching me how to write a script and things like that. Other than that, I haven't had any association with the Ponniyin Selvan that he's making. And yes, I go for his shooting and I'm there and I'm watching the shooting. I'm being with him. But other than that, in this film, I'm not interfering. He's finished 30% of the film. And it's a two-part sequel. Right. So he's finished 30%. The other 70% will be done only when the pandemic is kind of relaxed. Right. Wherever he's trying to shoot, they're saying you can come with 100 people, 150 people. But he needs minimum of 500 people on the sets.
500?
So, yes.
Because it's such a spectacle, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's all about palaces and war and warriors and, so it's going to take some time. I asked him even yesterday. He said, let's wait. We don't know whether we're going to shoot in Andhra Pradesh or North India or Sri Lanka. We just have to wait for things to get better.
Right. So when you have, all your colleagues in a way in this creative crisis right now,
yes.
How have you, one result is this collaboration, which I think is wonderful. How else have you sort of kept your spirits alive? Because you're all quite close, I think.
Yes. We are all close and about 30 of us are in a WhatsApp group, which includes Jackie Shroff and Poonam Dhillon also.
Wow.
So they're also part of our group. So we kind of support each other. Right. In our group, about 4 of them have gone for shooting already.
Okay.
And we keep, kind of supporting and trying to tell each other that, be careful and keep telling us how to do. And this one actor who's in Hyderabad, and he tells us how everything is going on, and Jackie Shroff is shooting somewhere, and then Purnima is shooting somewhere, Radhika is shooting, Ambika is shooting, about 5 of them are shooting right now. So we do share and take tips from each other, and we are like a family.
Yeah.
But the first and foremost issue here is health. So concern is health. So we keep telling each other we have to stay healthy and safe. That's more important because we are not just our work. We are also have other responsibilities. So we can't be thinking only about work now. In case some of us have kept money aside, which will take us for another 6 months without working, that's a better choice is what we always tell each other.
Yeah. But I mean, we forget that, actors and directors do live from film to film. And,
yes.
It's not that they always have money with them. We forget that they're like human beings as well.
Yes.
So finances is a big worry, isn't it?
It is a big worry, especially when you have a project and when you have staff working for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you might be out of work, but your staff you have to pay all of them. And we also thought about it, a couple of my friends, we said like, how long can we go on paying our staff even though they don't come to work? And we discussed, are we going to become poor by paying them? No.
Yeah.
Then we might as well pay them.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. What will they do?
Yeah.
They have not, my office has been closed for 6 months,
right.
But my NGO is closed for 6 months.
Right.
But still the salaries have to go. I mean, what will they do?
Yeah. Has this pandemic made us better human beings? You think we've become less selfish, more frugal?
I don't know. I think we human minds are such that we'll forget tomorrow when things become normal. We say, during pandemic we did this, and after that we forget everything. I don't think. Yeah, I mean, it's a reminder. But having said that, I don't know how long, because man is a survival. He's an animal, when it comes to survival instinct. So he is going to do what is right for him at that moment.
Right. So Hasni, I wanted to ask you about your politics, because Indira also had it was a very political film, and always your heart is always in the right place, which is so wonderful. So how has your own politics evolved through your work, through your cinema, through your stage work as well?
This morning I was wondering, elections are coming up. Yes. Whether it's in the state or the center, yeah. There's still time. But let's assume center and state, there is an election, and I'm there. And when I see the, voting thing box, I know who all I don't want to vote.
Yeah.
I don't know who I want to vote. This morning I was thinking, there is nobody that I want to vote for. Yeah. Why is it so? Yeah. Earlier on, whether this person or that person or this, there was this dilemma. But now the dilemma is, I don't know. I don't have anybody that I want to vote for.
Right.
Have I become cynical, or has the scene become so difficult? I'm sure it's the same for so many of us. Absolutely. Who are not affiliated to any political party. If I'm even supporting Kamal or Rajni, I will be saying something different right now. Please vote for Kamal. Please vote for Rajni, I would say. At least I don't even have that conviction. At least for that sake, I think I should lean on to some political party. I feel, I don't know. Because it's this morning I was seriously thinking after reading news. Yeah. So I read a news about somebody, and I said, definitely I'm not going to vote for this party. If this is going to be this open, I'm not going to vote for that party. And are people going to remember this when they go to the voting booth? Is what I was thinking.
So Hasni, is there no way that you have thought about organizing women as a political force, especially in Tamil Nadu, where they're so fierce and there's such a powerful group of latent power and strength just waiting to be exploited? Is there no such idea?
I think, my son is so interested in politics, so I've seen the way he works, and I realized that I just don't have it in me at all to understand politics. Even as a voter, I don't know what to do. Right. But on top, definitely, I think I'm not qualified, because it's for anybody with normal emotions, I think, to be in politics. Because I was asked to apologize to somebody for the mistake that I didn't do.
Right.
Some time ago, that. And yeah. And my son said, just call him and apologize. Everything will become all right. And it became all right.
Right.
See, it became all right. So that is politics.
But that's not who you are.
That's not who I am. But that person and I are in good terms after that. And we talk about everything except that particular issue. So, which is what politics is all about. In one issue, you're enemy. The rest of the issues, you're friends.
Right. So I think your innate ethics sort of comes into play, and you can't be that person.
Yeah, I can't be that person.
So Hasni, really, at the end, I want to ask you, how much more of you are we going to see behind the screens and in front of the screens too? And we need to see a lot more of you. So tell me, what are your plans?
This Puttam Puthukale has really ignited the, wish to write more and to shoot more. So hopefully I should be doing a lot on OTT platforms.
Right.
That's one. I also wanted to be the showrunner, where I'm not going to be directing and acting and writing, but creating young talent. And I want to be, Shonda Rhimes of South India. Why not?
Why South India of India? Forget
of India, yes. To begin with, South India.
Yeah. But that's a great idea, because there must be so many stories in your head just waiting to come out.
Yeah. And then I can see so much talent, and putting all of them together will be a great.
And you're a great connector of people as well, aren't you? You're able to put people together and to keep them together somehow.
Yes, I do.
Big talent, right?
I don't know. Professionally, personally, as a friend, yes, I can keep people together. Professionally, I'm quite difficult. So I don't know how that's going to work.
I'm sure it will. Thank you so much. It's been
Thank
such a
you.
pleasure to have you talking to us, and all the very best.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.